questions on any of that? This very detailed little thing here actually is very basic science. I'm pretty sure you guys all know everything on here. The only thing is this last little box over there, which is basically showing the glutamate being built up in that space. And that's all it's really adding to this, to what you already know about it. But you can read it if you like. It's pretty basic physio. Oh, by the way, was this a class where we talked about dysarthria before?
No.
No? Yeah? No?
No.
No. You know how a lot of times you can kind of figure out what these words mean based on what they sound like? Dys always bad, right?
Yep.
Arthria apparently means speech, and I think that comes from the same root as being articulate. So just FYI. You always want to, go back to where did that root come from? And that way you can get a lot further with knowing Greek and Latin. You'll pick it up whether you like it or not in medicine. You'll pick up some Greek and Latin anyway, just because everything kind of goes back to there. And you'll be able to know what words mean just because you've seen those root words and prefixes and suffixes before. Okay. All right, so obviously one of the ways to test for this is the electromyogram. Stick a needle in, you measure the current that's going through muscles. That tells you how well those nerves are working, because of course that's the whole problem in the first place is deterioration of your nerves, which makes it deterioration of your muscles. Questions? I don't think there's anything new on here. That wasn't on that first slide anyway. Okay. All right, any questions about that? ALS at all? Any stories, comments, nothing? Nothing questions? All right, so myasthenia gravis. How many of you guys have heard this one before? 1, 3, 6, 4. Okay. Has anybody known anybody with it ever? Okay. All right. Has anybody known anybody who had like a droopy eyelid like this? Like one eyelid's are droopy? What's that one actor's name?
I keep forgetting. I'm sorry.
I'm guessing with a droopy eyelid?
Bill's palsy kind
Droopy
of.
dog? Droopy the dog? Is that really
He
an
was
actor?
in like a Contagion movie or something like that. That's the last I remember.
Oh yeah, there's only been one of those.
I forget his name. He was in the one movie about the butler too for the White House.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway,
This guy? Yeah. What's his name?
this guy,
We need a name. Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker.
Does he sound familiar? Does he have it?
I don't know.
I've always wondered because.
Does he have a droopy eyelid?
Yeah.
So maybe he does. My point was,
Sorry.
is that even if you knew somebody with it, they may not know they have it, or even if they do have it, it may not make a difference, okay? Now, you're like, well, why do you need to talk about this? Well, because this is some basic physiology that you guys learned a long, long time ago, and it's also basic physiology you guys have to remember for the future, because it's kind of a base of physiology and the processes that have to do with neuromuscular issues. Yes? Okay. You probably didn't hear that way in the back, but she said she had an aunt that had myasthenia gravis, and she had a tumor on her thymus that caused it. Okay? That is true. 10 to 25% of people do have thymus tumors. Okay? An odd thing, by the way, is that they seem to have found, at least I read this somewhere, that it makes sense that if it's a thymus tumor and that's causing somehow myasthenia gravis, if you remove the thymus and it cures it, that makes sense. However, I was also reading that sometimes people will have their thymus removed even if they don't have a thymus tumor, and they're also cured. Is how that makes any sense at all, I really don't know. Haven't had time to research that in any details. Anybody know any details about that? I just literally came across it while I was making the key. I'm like, what? Anyway, kind of odd. So, myasthenia gravis, if you think about what's happening, if you look at this picture, this is your bio 201 terminal axon, right? Your end bone going to the muscle on one side or on the receiving side. You get a stimulus, right? That electrical stimulus going down the nerve. It releases that chemical, the acetylcholine. Okay, this is acetylcholine goes into that cleft, sits in its receptor, right? Does its job. That's going to send that signal down that, part of the sarcolemma, the terminal cisternae, and you get the calcium release and the troponin and tropomyosin, and release, off the heads, and actin and myosin, and the muscle contraction, right? Remember all that? I'm not going over it, obviously, because that's basic bio 201 stuff. Well, the problem with myasthenia gravis is that the autoimmune response is to attack these receptors. If you attack those acetylcholine receptors on the target muscle, guess what? You don't get those contractions, right? And you would think that if you could not get muscle contractions because the receptors are being attacked, this would be a major, major problem. Most of the time it's not. Most of the time they get that droopy eyelid, which is called ptosis. It's right up there somewhere, right there. Okay, that's, by the way, really kind of a big buzzword for myasthenia gravis is ptosis, that droopy eyelid. Okay, but more commonly than not, that's like their main symptom. They have the droopy eyelid, and they might get tired, especially as the day goes on. They get more and more tired, which makes sense if you are attacking the receptors for your acetylcholine, right? Again, you would think this would be a massive problem, but it doesn't tend to be. Most of the time, it tends to stay pretty much in the head and upper chest area, and that's about it. Obviously, there are exceptions to everything, but it tends to stay pretty mild and just in those areas. So it's not, people aren't dying most of the time from myasthenia gravis. Yes, but
apparently they're not sure of the relationship between the thymus and gravis, but apparently it is believed that the thymus makes incorrect immune antibodies, and that causes them to attack. So it's possible that could be a cause. They're not too sure yet.
okay. All right, fair enough. So thymus is where T lymphocytes go to get matured, right? So if there's some kind of problem in there and it's not maturing them, maybe it's making a mutant and they're attacking. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Good, thanks. Good story. Glad we had to stop.
We'll talk later.
Okay. So, all right. So here's the other reason why I like myasthenia gravis to talk about it, because this sets up something else that you have to know. Okay. Natalie will probably expand on this a little bit more, but when you get to pharmacology, okay, this whole terminal end bone synaptic cleft muscle thing is kind of a
It's a neuromuscular junction. junction?
Yeah, or you can call it the neuromuscular junction, whatever. If that area is a target for a lot of drugs, okay? For example, here, you're using edrophonium or tensilon, okay? Now, every time you have a neurotransmitter, in this case acetylcholine, and it goes in this receptor, it does its job, signal sent on, and then it leaves the receptor, okay? And then it's kind of hanging out in that synaptic cleft. But for pretty much every neurotransmitter, there's something that is going to deal with that, okay? And in this case, you have something called acetylcholine ester, and then ACE is an enzyme, right? So this one happens to be named after acetylcholine because it breaks apart acetylcholine and breaks it down into little pieces, and it takes those little pieces and they go back and they're recycled, okay? If it didn't do that and you didn't have a receptor problem, what would happen? Well, what would happen is if you had neurotransmitters just floating around all over the place in that cleft. Okay. If nothing's breaking it down, and you didn't have that enzyme yet, Garrett.
Wouldn't it keep activating the receptor? It would keep putting
Keep activating the receptor. And in this case, that would cause a lot of contraction. They call it tetanus, right? You just keep contracting all your muscles all the time, and that's not good, right? So, that's what neurotransmitters do. They do their job in the receptor, they leave, they go in the cleft, some ACE breaks them down, that's specific for that, and then everybody's happy. Well, here's the treatment for this. The treatment is to get this edrophonium or tensilon and inhibit that acetylcholinesterase. If you inhibit the acetylcholinesterase in this case, you are purposely leaving more acetylcholine in that cleft.